In this language of astrology, the inner planets, these tell us about individual temperament and potential. Now, the demarcation point between the inner planets and the outer planets, we're talking Jupiter, Saturn, the pair of them, but primarily Saturn. There we have the edge between the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, also including Jupiter and Saturn, and the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. The inner planets tell about individual temperament and potential. The outer planets affect us through the unconscious. They symbolize the collective unconscious. The ego cannot harness or control these energies of the outer planets. Uranus, to start with. Uranus, it symbolizes originality, inventiveness, genius, and eccentricity, the bizarre. Uranus is considered the ruler of the sign Aquarius, the 11th house, but the sign Aquarius. The two-word phrase is I know for the sign Aquarius, and this applies to the planet Uranus. Uranus is the higher octave of the mind. Mercury is the lower octave of the mind. Mercury is how the mind works. Uranus is how the group mind is working. So body parts, we're looking at the aura, the human aura, the nervous system, the ankles. These are all Uranian body parts. Again, Uranus is the group mind. It's inventive, it's original, and it's very much indeed connected to the urge and the need for freedom and independence. Neptune, it's the ruler of Pisces, the 12th house. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, as Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, the mind. Venus is the higher octave of Venus, love. And with Uranus, we're talking the head chakra in terms of receptivity for collective energy coming through us or to us from the outside, as it were, this collective unconscious. With Neptune, which is the higher octave of Venus, the planet of love, it's the heart chakra that is actively operative. Venus is selfish love. Neptune is selfless love. Neptune is about spiritual love, sacrifice, idealism, empathy, inspiration, inspired art in all its forms, illusion, photography, these are all Neptunian things. The health system, in terms of the physical vehicle, it's the immune system that Neptune symbolizes, and the feet. On the other side, Neptune symbolizes scamming and fraud and delusion and alcohol and drugs, disappointment. The two-word phrase for Aquarius, which is the sign that Uranus rules, is I know. It's about that higher knowledge. Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, the two-word phrase is I believe. And Neptune is all about faith and belief and hope and the health system. Pluto. Pluto is the ruler of the 8th house in the sign Scorpio. Pluto, the planet of death and power and control. This is the symbolism of the planet Pluto. It symbolizes death and rebirth, so it also symbolizes places like recycling depots, where old things are recycled and turned into something that's reusable. This is typically Plutonian energy. Pluto's about death and rebirth. reorganization, and power and control, death and rebirth itself. Insights are felt in the gut, the lower chakra, with the planet Pluto, and Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. The two-word phrase for Scorpio and Pluto is I desire. And there is a very deep, instinctual, passionate desire, a powerful inner force with the planet Pluto. Revenge instincts are Pluto. Pluto things and Pluto feelings feel like fate. They represent, Pluto symbolizes deep, deep feelings, passions, and power, and control, and birth and death. So these are the outer planets. Now, what's very useful and important in astrology in terms of using it as a tool for self-awareness, which is what it's all about. Astrology really was never meant to be used as a predictive tool so much as a tool for self-awareness. Wherever Uranus is traveling, what sign it's in, it stays there for 7 years. It has that 84-year cycle. Right now, Uranus is in Taurus, where it travels for 7 years, affecting our finances and all of the Taurus things that we share collectively. Very slowly transiting along, 84-year orbit, Earth years, of course. And wherever Uranus travels by transit, if you know what house it's traveling through, it's a great time to have a new perspective of how to deal with whatever life issues you're dealing with. Think of things in a new way. Look at new possibilities and new perspectives, because this is the best use of Uranian energy. Initiating newness. Initiating Uranian activities. Uranus, one of the Uranian activity is astrology and anything to do with electronics. These are Uranian subjects. So if you're open to change and initiate change when Uranus is in a certain area of your chart, reflecting the things of that house being affected by its presence there, if you're voluntarily using that Uranian energy, then you're less likely to experience disruptive change that you seem to experience coming at you in life. Neptune. Neptune has a 164-year orbit. It's only going to make it through one portion of the chart in a given lifetime. It's in Pisces right now. It'll stay in one sign from 12 to 13, 14 years, depending on what sign it's in. It has a variable orbit. But it adds up to 164. Neptune. Illusion. Illusion and sacrifice. So if you're voluntarily sacrificial and being conscious of this Neptunian energy, again, in the area of the chart that it's transiting through, affecting the things of the house it's transiting through, Neptune requires sacrifice in some way, or at least an awareness of a conscious awareness that you can easily be given to illusions and idealism that isn't real. You have to be very careful about being a victim of a scam, or indeed being untruthful, or have lack of clarity in your dealings with others. Be careful of that energy. Voluntarily, when Neptune is in certain parts of your life, if you can do that, it's a big help. Pluto. Pluto's in Capricorn right now. Knowing where it is, knowing where it's traveling in your chart, it's going to take a very, very long time to go anywhere. It'll stay in one sign for many, many years. A 250-year orbit. But just knowing where Pluto is and when it makes contact as it slowly transits along with your birth planets is still also very useful information to know. So this gives you the outer edges of the solar system that the ancients so wonderfully devised this system of symbolic interpretation of specific astronomical facts. Exactly where were the planets when you were born? What houses were they in? What signs were they in? How were they relating to each other in terms of aspects? Were they opposite each other, or were they sitting quite really close side by side? The conjunction. A tool for self-awareness. This language of astrology, very ancient. Take care.